Do you mind if I?
Oh, please.
Okay, okay. 'Cause
I'm so not used to being on camera.
no, I know, right? His siblings, so.
So what's what's your favorite episodes?
Let me think. Let's see. I really like your Secret of Nim 2 review.
Yeah.
I thought Martin was the bad guy. What the fuck?
Right? He doesn't even look like a mouse. He looks like a cat.
I know. And I also thought your Pearl Harbor review was really funny. I love that you played Michael Bay.
Yeah, no, and now it's like every time I do that now, people are like, Michael Bay doesn't look or talk like that. I'm like, I know, I think that's like the biggest insult you can give. It's like just someone who's like so obsessed with being so manly and so shoving explosions in your face. Instead, you just make him very feminine and wants to talk about flowers and just wants to make romances and stuff. And that just, that really cracked me up.
He's got our penises.
Right? Yeah, he ain't giving them back. There's another Transformers coming out, man. I can't believe it. So now, like, where are you guys from? Are you from Iowa, or?
Let's see. We actually were born in Illinois, and we still live there. I was born in a town called Lindenhurst, Illinois.
Lindenhurst? Okay.
And then we moved.
You were born in Oak Park.
Yeah.
In Oak Park Hospital, but still, yeah.
I was counting.
It's right.
And then we moved to a place in Illinois called Milwaukee Avenue in Lake Villa. And then we lived in Poplar Grove for like 11 years, and we just moved into Rockford, Illinois now.
Oh, cool. Like, how long ago?
A month.
A month? Oh, okay. So that's like really recent. That's cool. How is it so far?
It's a really nice house.
Is it? Okay. We moved, we've been ours 3 years now, I believe. It was a year where we did, we were killing off the critic, I was getting married, we were moving to a new house, we were starting a new show, and I had 13 cons to do.
Jesus.
Yeah, no, and that was because this is at a time whenever somebody asked me to go to a con, I just say yes, because I just thought, that's amazing, anyone would want me to go to a con. But like at that point, I finally said, okay, now I know the amount to cut off, like no more than that. I try to come in half now, do like 7 or something like that. So yeah, but even with all that though, we love the house we got. There's something so cool when you move into a new place, it really feels like home. You just.
That's kind of how it was for us, because we had a rough time, didn't we? We had a rough time with the old house. We had a rough time, but the new place, it was like felt like home right away. Didn't it?
See, that's great.
Yeah, it is great.
We had the house we were at before, we loved, we thought it was so cool, and that's the one that had like the bar downstairs and the drawings on the wall and the red curtain, and we're just like, the place is amazing, we were renting that place, and we thought like, clearly we're gonna move in here, it's just too amazing and everything, and the price was a little up there, it was a bit of a fixer-upper, and then when we moved to this place, we were realizing like, man, like, that place was neat, but that wasn't home.
Problems,
like,
exactly.
Where we are now is home.
Exactly.
It's like it's something a little smaller, a little bit more cozy, and and now we just love it. So it's really, really nice.
That's what we thought too. It was the same exact thing.
What did the last place just kind of too big?
It was a subdivision in the middle of a cornfield. It was too big. We used to have 10 people in the house, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's about how many. What did we have? We had 5 or 6 living in ours. So it was great for that amount. But then when they all moved out, it was just my wife and I. It's
exactly. That's exactly what it was like.
Robin. Hold on, I'll come to you.
That's exactly what it was like for us. And we were just rattling around in there and getting more aggravated, and we finally were able to find a good place that fits us. So that's
really
great.
Cool.
Yeah,
it's so nice when you finally, find that place.
Yeah, yeah.
So I hope it stays that way, I hope like nothing pops up.
I think it will. The only problem we had was Bill finding his studio in the house.
Because I do my own video reviews.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool. Like what kind of stuff?
Let's see. I used to put my videos on a website called zipcast.com, but currently that website is down, so I'm not putting them up right now.
Okay.
But my very first review was the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Classic. Not a fault with that movie.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Monkey!
Oh.
I do bring that up in the review.
Yeah.
And also the line the guy said, "The Goombas are dancing again."
That's we were talking about doing this thing because we always have like a theme month, and we were talking about maybe doing like a month dedicated to like re-reviewing certain movies, because in the old days, like the reviews I did were like no more than 10 minutes, something like that. So we're talking about like, maybe we could go into more detail about like Super Mario Brothers or Space Jam or something like that, because they're kind of very quickly looked at. Yeah, because it'd be nice to kind of like go into more detail and like get a lot more of those jokes in there and stuff. I don't know, but the only thing I'm worried about with that is that people be like, oh, you're running out of ideas already. It's like, no, I just thought this would be cool to do.
But we were just talking about that last night about Independence
About me
Day.
running out of ideas?
No, no, about Independence Day. About your real thoughts on Independence Day. I said you encapsulated everything I ever felt about an Independence Day. You and Rob just covered everything.
The original film?
The original film,
Yeah.
everything. Because that was my husband and my favorite movie to make fun of. And so, you know, and the review, but the review, like, you touched on it, and then with your real thoughts, it's like, okay, great, that was all of it. So maybe, I don't know, I would enjoy seeing some re-reviews.
I have to say my favorite joke in your Independence Day review was, a hurricane was spotted on the East Coast. Panic! Panic!
Wait, was that Independence Day or was that Signs?
Independence Day.
Was it Independence Day? Okay. Because Signs are always like, God help us all. And it's like, who talks like this? A newscast.
I know.
Yeah, well, and what's so funny, we're doing in the next review we have this fake trailer in the opening, and it's like this completely, original idea of like this woman, anything she touches, the person gets super strong to the point where they're invincible. And then there's this guy, anyone he touches, they get really weak and they die. And then they meet, and they've got to figure out who's gonna, be the king, queen of the jungle around here and stuff like that. They're gonna have this fight, but then they realize the idea is a totally original idea, and they panic. And it's just like, wait, there's gotta be a comic this is based on, or a movie, or a TV show, or something like that. No, we have to have a built-in fan base, already. We can't take a gamble. We can't take a gamble that somebody would like something new, and so like, it's like the scariest, most disturbing movie because it's totally original. And also saying like the Independence Day resurgence, right? It's like nobody wants to see that, because it's like, who wants to see that?
Nobody does anymore.
Especially if they don't have Will Smith. Even if he was in there, I don't think that would have saved it.
I'm pretty sure that's the only reason we went to see it, and we saw it at the drive-in, and it was still terrible. The drive-in kind of gives you that extra level of popcorn movie. You're like, oh, it was fine. It was we were outside, it was fun, but it didn't help. Independence Day. So, do you want to ask him about green screens?
Yeah, green screens. For like my birthday a couple of years ago, I got a set of like green screen, how to set it up and put it up the green, tarp and stuff. And I don't really know how to quite perfect it just yet, and because I tried a little bit of it and it didn't look that great. I want to know how you do it so well.
What program do you use to edit?
I use Magic's Movie Edit Pro.
Okay, that one I don't use, but I'll tell you what I use, I'll tell you what I do. I use Adobe Premiere, and you go to keying, because maybe they're similar. You go to the keying button, and there's a couple. There's like color keying, ultra keying, there's like 3 or 4 of them. And the one I usually use is called ultra keying. And when you put that in there, and there's a little, eye drop that says pick which color you want taken out. And you do that, and I usually pick like not the absolute darkest, but like close to the darkest tint of green on there, and I pick that, and there's a little thing that's like, do you want to just leave as is, or do you want to do it very light or very aggressive? So you go and pick very aggressive, and that'll do half of it for you, and then you sort of play with like the I think like pedestal was one, and then like. From there, you can kind of figure it out, and you play with transparency a little bit and stuff. But the big thing for me, the one, because I had trouble too when I started off, and because I was doing the color key, that's what I was using. But the one that worked the best for me, that I could work the best with, was ultra key. So if you have anything on there that's like not color key, but like ultra key, try that one and sort of play around with it a little bit.
Does having good lighting help too?
Yeah. I mean, the big thing is you have to have like as few shadows as possible. It doesn't mean they have to all be gone. It's preferred, but they don't have to be, because you can still play with it just enough where you can kind of get those dark greens out there. But if there's a point where it's like like there, that's not that bad a shadow, but there, that's really dark. So if you can get it like something like that, that's probably gonna disappear. But if you get it like that dark, that's gonna be much harder to get rid of.
That's good.
And then, like, when you do it, how does it look? Is there like a green line around them, or is it just kind of like gray? Or
Let's see. You know, when I tried it a couple of times, you know, I filmed myself for a little bit in front of the green screen, and it looked kind of fuzzy on the sides.
That's a there's two things you can play around with that. One is called the again, this is on Premiere. One is called the choke, and that'll take sort of the fuzziness and it'll get it closer to, you know, whatever the hair or the skin or whatever, you know, it'll sort of get rid of that fuzziness. But it can go too far to a point where if you turn to the side, it'll look like you won't have a nose because the choke just, you know, really gets rid of a lot. And then there's another one called the soften, where that's like, with the choke, if you bring it in, it'll be a very hard edge, you know, it'll be very hard like that. But let's say like you have somebody with fuzzy hair or something like that, you don't want that hard line around it, you don't want it super sharp. So the soften will make it a little blurry. And again, that can go too far if you push it too far. But for the most part, if you kind of just play around with those, that should be able to get rid of it pretty well. So again, I hope this is in there as well, you know, because like I said, I use Premiere, but there's got to be some version of that, even if it's called something else, that should be able to play around with that. So yeah, sort of the more even the green you can get, and lighting helps that. And yeah, just there should be some buttons or settings you can have, like, you know, choke and pedestal and stuff like that, that can really help that out.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope, like I said, I have Premiere, so I'm just hoping they have, you know, the same names. If not, just keep experimenting, you know. I mean, you look at some of my old videos and the green screens are really bad. You know, now I've gotten like a lot better at. I can do them much better. So, also when you do it, do you have how big is your green screen? Like, do you have it kind of like to the floor, or is it just it stops at the floor?
No, it's 8 feet, isn't it 8 feet?
Yeah, I think
it's
so.
8 feet. Yeah.
Do you have it so?
It'll collapse. It'll go up and down. So
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
To 8 feet is the limit.
Okay, got it. So like when you shoot it, you're not going to show like your feet or anything like that, right?
No.
Okay. All right. That's
No,
fine.
not likely.
If you ever do get one that's like longer, you know, or can go longer, whatever, try to get one. Don't do something where it's like you have green here and they just have another green screen like that. You need it to actually kind of bend a bit. You need to be long enough so that it kind of bends, because that gets rid of that crease, you know, that's in there.
Okay, that's good too.
And also, am I right? It's one that you just kind of open it up and it's pretty straight, right?
It telescopes. It's just completely
okay,
straight.
so yeah, it's not
flips.
like there's not like creases or wrinkles.
No.
Or anything. Okay, that's good. That's when we have like an actual green screen, you know, like the blanket or something like that. Those sucked, like because there's always a wrinkle or something.
And
like
you
that.
have to pull it really taut, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I even used those because the ones I've used was either just the sheet or the or at our studio now we just have a whole wall that's painted that way.
That's cool.
Yeah, but I hear every time I see someone use that, it's always great because, like I said, there's no wrinkles, there's no creases or anything like that. So I mean, that should be a good one to use.
That's cool.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, I feel like I talked a lot there.
No, actually, this is all really good
It's really
information.
helpful.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So also, how many videos have you made so far?
Let's see. Aside from my Super Mario Brothers movie review, I also did a couple of top 10 videos. Like, I did my own top 10 best villain characters list.
Oh, that's cool. Who's number one?
These artificial humans from Full Metal Alchemist called the Homunculi.
Oh, I remember them. Yeah. No, that's really cool. Those are good ones.
Yeah, and they're definitely number one because, you know, humans created them, we created them, and to blame them for all the horrible things they did, it's our fault still.
I like that. You know, I like it when, you know, because when I heard you say, you know, the top 10 villains, I'm thinking like, okay, it's going to be like Darth Vader or the Joker or something like that. When he said that, it's like, really? Oh, that's interesting. That's a good explanation. A lot of times I find what makes like any kind of critic or someone's going to talk about anything media really interesting is if you offer like a point of view somebody's not offering. That doesn't mean it has to be like crazy. Like green means the devil. Okay, nobody would say that, but it doesn't make sense. It's like, but it can be actually kind of like interesting and meaningful. Like when you said that, it's like,
appreciate your help.
that's really very interesting. That's kind of a cool point of view to spin on that. So
It's sort of like what you said about HAL 9000.
yeah. No, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think I had what I had that on like
Scariest performances?
Yeah. Oh man, that thing's still creepy. But yeah, so I think you're kind of on the right track with that. Like when you talk about like try to offer something that nobody else is gonna give. Like you can't watch 8 other people say or do. And I think like by sort of having that out, like that's kind of a unique outlook there, which I think is good.
Perfect.
You can kind of take that and sort of keep using it and sort of like put in some interesting information that maybe somebody hasn't thought about.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Yeah, and I also did my own top 10 saddest episodes. Yeah, I didn't copy your name, of course, because, I'd be stealing from you if I called it top whatever saddest moments. So I called it top 10 bittersweet television episodes.
Oh, nice. That was number 1 on that one.
It's an episode about a bullied kid who shoots up a school of a show called Degrassi: The Next Generation.
Degrassi? Okay.
Never heard of it?
Nah.
It's a Canadian like soap opera show.
Okay.
My sisters really love it, and I got into it too.
Cool. That's really cool. It's awesome. You got kind of like a good. People love lists. I mean, I found that out very early.
They do.
I remember when I was doing mine, I said, I want to do top 11 because I always feel like there's always one missing. And I was telling my brother, I said, well, why should I call it that though? Why top 11? And he says, you like to go one step beyond. I went, okay, I'm always going to say that.
Yeah, that's right.
Because whenever somebody, says top 10, well, there's a lot of top 10s, but somebody says top 11, you're going, oh, nostalgia critic, like, you know what that is.
That's
So
right.
anything to kind of help that identity, kind of stick out. That's the reason I got like a black hat and a red tie and stuff, because that really helps. When you see the outline of that or someone wear that, you know who that is. You immediately get it.
Definitely.
So yeah, anything to kind of help, like, I hate to use the word brand, but it kind of is. Anything to kind of help your brand, have like a visual look or a style or anything like that. That's usually like the best thing you can do. One of the best things, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, shall we let the man get back to what he has to do here?
Uh,
I hate to take up too much of his time.
Oh, we're doing
We're
okay.
good? Okay.
Yeah, we're doing okay. What was I gonna say? Now, are you going to go any of the panels while you're here at all?
when do you have your movies everyone disagrees with you on?
Christ. I think it's at like 2 a.m. tonight. Kind of a weird time. It's either like 2 or 1.
We figure all the punks won't be there, so.
Well, no, because
Kinda
it's like
late,
I'm
though.
gonna be at this Cards Against Humanity panel, and then they're like, oh yeah, and yours starts a half hour before that one ends. So it's like, okay, and that panel, it's not an 18 plus panel. The one I'm doing, it's just letting people talk about movies and stuff like that. So it's
kinda odd.
like this is a weird time.
We thought it was a misprint at first.
I did too. I just look at this like. So I checked it. I'm like, so this is the time, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I got another one Sunday. I think at 3, like
so.
right before the con stops. So
Yeah.
so that's that'll be interesting.
Oh yeah.
and then I got a signing Saturday. And that should be all my stuff. I think. Yeah. So cool. You looking forward to the con?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. You're been to one before?
Yes, I've been to several.
Have you? That's really cool.
Been
Like
to
which ones?
I've been to Anime Midwest 3 times.
Oh, okay.
2013 and 14. You might not remember, but I saw you there.
Oh, cool. Good to see you again. I see a lot of people. I'm sorry.
Oh, don't worry about
I
it.
used to be
Yeah,
that
don't-
person that was like, I'm going to answer every fan email. I'm going to remember every person. I'm always going to respond. It's like, yeah, that ain't happening.
Not possible. It's not possible.
Yeah, and I hate it. I wish, I could be like that person that always responds, but it just takes up too much time. So, but that's
Part of me
great
feels
to
like
see
it looks
you.
like it's almost working. Yeah.
It's fine, as celebrities often don't remember every single person they meet.
I
How
wish
could
I
they?
could though. It's like 'cause you never think you're gonna be doing something like this. When
Yeah.
people come out and say hi,
DJ is
and it's
longer,
like
but we're not gonna be far
something
away.
is gonna happen. You want to remember every person, but my memory's already awful. So yeah, but it's great to see you again though.
Great seeing you again too.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
Oh,
really
definitely,
nice.
Definitely. So,
Very, very
cool.
nice. Very
Yeah.
nice.
I think.
I'm gonna
actually,
shut this
when
off.
was it?
I'm going to shut this off.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.